Johnny Hernandez. Johnny. You say you're 35 years old, you owe $14,000. You just got into currently non-collectible status with the IRS. Your fiance wants you guys to buy a house. What should be the next move you should make? Great question. It's always tricky. Always tricky when there's moving asset pieces and you have tax debt. And why is that? That's because the IRS always wants a piece of your assets. If you have tax debt and you acquire assets, the IRS, this is the IRS's perspective, is, hey, you bought that house, you bought that car, you bought that investment property, you bought those stocks, you bought that piece of raw land you want to develop, you bought it with our money. Therefore, we want a piece of it with interest and penalties. So Johnny, it's good you asked this question, and it shows some forethought because, you know, a lot of people, they get into an IRS resolution like CNC, and they think, I don't have to worry about the IRS anymore. I took care of it. No, if you're in a hardship-based resolution other than an offering compromise, so I'm talking about currently non-collectible status and a partial payment installment agreement, the IRS is going to file against you what's called a notice of federal tax lien, okay? Now, this generally is not as scary as it sounds, okay? This doesn't mean the IRS is going to go after your bank accounts. You know, you're protected from that if you're in CNC. It doesn't mean they're going to go after your wages or your 1099, you know, customers, right? You're protected from that if you're in CNC. But what the notice of federal tax lien does is it puts the world on notice. This is just a document filed in your state or county records. What the notice of federal tax lien does is it puts the world on notice that you, Johnny, you owe the IRS $14,000, okay? Now, why does this matter? What's the big deal? Okay, everybody, you know, if they go down to the county recorder's office and they see this notice of federal tax lien that says Johnny Hernandez owes the IRS $14,000 for these tax years, who cares? Yeah, most people don't care, right? I don't care. Your mom doesn't care. You probably don't care. But you know who cares? People who want to loan you money. And if you're thinking about getting a mortgage on this house, Johnny, that's something you got to think about. Why is that? Well, you see the note. Why do they care? Well, you see, Johnny, the notice of federal tax lien, it doesn't just attach to the property that you own now, but it also attaches to any future property that you acquire. So the lender's going to look at that and say, okay, we're going to loan Johnny and his fiance hundreds of thousands of dollars so they can buy their house. Now, if things go well, you pay off that mortgage after 30 years or you sell the house before then, well, I'll talk about the sale situation in a minute. Well, the lender doesn't have anything to worry about. Well, in the sale situation, they may. I'll talk about that in a second. But what if things don't go right, Johnny? What if you stop making those payments on the home? Well, that's why the mortgage is secured by the home itself, right? If it gets bad enough, the lender can take foreclosure proceedings and take the house. Oh, but there's a $14,000 notice of federal tax lien against Johnny. What does that mean if the lender then takes the house in foreclosure and goes to sell it? That means that if the lender then dumps it, REO, on the balance sheet, then they will, out of the proceeds, have to pay off whatever that amount is now, whatever the payoff amount is to the IRS. So lenders don't like this because that notice of federal tax lien, because it was filed before he got the mortgage, it takes priority over the mortgage. It has to be paid off before the mortgage is paid off. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, if let's say real estate market turns, these go south, there's not enough equity in the home when it sells to pay off both the IRS and the mortgage. Well, that notice of federal tax lien has priority. IRS is going to get all that $14,000 plus whatever penalties and interest have accrued until that point, and the lender might be left holding the bag. So what I would say, Johnny, as an immediate next course of action, one, make sure the IRS has filed a notice of federal tax lien against you. You would have got notification in the mail. certified mail. You know, if you're moving around or you know you're not your mail, sometimes you get lost. Check your account transcript; it'll be on there. Notice the federal tax lien filing for the year you owe. Check that account transcript. So make sure there is a notice of federal tax lien filed, first of all. And if one has been filed, talk to your lender, right? That you're looking at engaging for this transaction. Talk to your mortgage guy, your mortgage broker, your mortgage lender, whatever bank you're working with, or your mortgage broker, whatever. Ask them, hey, I have tax debt. I'm in a resolution with the IRS, CNC status. I have no federal tax lien. How is that going to affect our ability to borrow money to buy a house, right? Now, the fact that it's $14,000 and not $140,000 or $1.4 million is good, right? That's not a huge number, right? So I'd ask your lender, right? Hey, how's this going to affect me? If it seems that the notice of federal tax lien is really making it tough for you to buy that house, then you may want to get the notice of federal tax lien released, okay? Now, you can do that in one of two ways in your scenario. Well, there's three ways. One is to file an offer in compromise. That's a long process. You have to qualify for it. Maybe you do qualify for it, but you're actually trying to qualify to buy a house right now, so I wouldn't think you would qualify because you're probably doing better financially than someone who would qualify for an offer in compromise on $14,000 tax debt. But if you do the offer, you know, after offer acceptance and payment, within 30 days, the IRS is supposed to release a notice of federal tax lien. Of course, offer in compromise is a long process. I don't know what your time horizon here is to buy a home, but you know, you could offer in compromise. You could be looking at anywhere from 6 months, 12 months or more. Probably for $14,000, it'll be less than that, but let's say at least 6 months. Next option is pay the debt off, obviously. Doesn't sound like that is in the cards, given that you're in CNC, unless the situation has changed since you got into CNC. Third thing you can do is pay the IRS a little bit of money to get the notice of federal tax lien released. How much money? Well, you have to call them up. I don't want to be around this dog. You have to call them up, say, hey, I want to get into a direct debit installment agreement, a DDIA, over the next, I think they want you to do it. Well, just explain what you want, right? Hey, I owe us $25,000. I know that if I get into a DDIA and I make 3 payments on it, right, then, you know, you'll release notice of federal tax lien. So talk to the agent about that. Hopefully they're knowledgeable about it, on how to get you into this, you know, program here. And this was part of the Fresh Start program, right? This, you know, releasing liens. If you owe under $25,000, you get into a DDIA. Hopefully the agent you talk to is knowledgeable about it. If you're giving you the runaround, give us a call. My tax attorneys and EAs know how to talk to the IRS about this particular issue, getting the lien released. But those are your options here, Johnny. You know, in this situation of being in CNC, potentially having an FTL filing, and looking to buy a house. So anyway, I hope this is helpful for you. If you're in this situation, or even not the situation, but you still owe the IRS or your state at least $10,000 or more, or you have multiple years on unfiled tax returns, go ahead, give us a call here at Choice Tax Relief. Why? Because you qualify for a free consultation. Give us a call, 866-8000-TAX. That's 866-8000-829. Or you can go to choicetaxrelief.com, fill out the form on our website, and we will reach out to you. I also have some other videos on the left-hand side of the screen for your education and enjoyment. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.